chance.
Who's gonna share my love for me with me? I've been thinking about you.
Hello and welcome to France 24's music show, which is this week packed with pretty R&B sounds and cowboy indie rock. But first, a band who knows how to put a very chill spin on music by the likes of the Ramones, Joy Division, the Dead Kennedys, or Depeche Mode. Yes, the band in question, French band Nouvelle Vague, came to fame in 2004 with the first album that reworked goth indie hits from the 80s in a soothing, light-hearted way. Now, earlier this year, they released 2 new albums, Rarities and Curiosities, and they've embarked on a massive tour of Europe. And joining us to talk about this is founding member Marc Collin. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Hello.
Now, it's such a pleasure to have you. Did you think that 15 years down the line, Bossa Nova versions of those kind of punk rock songs would still make it?
Of course not. It's a complete surprise. Each year, actually, I'm thinking, probably it will be over next year, and we have such a following and a lot of tours, and now there's this two new albums, compilations. So it's always a surprise. So I even don't know what will be the future of the project.
And on some of those new albums, you've also got fabulous covers by big bands like the Smiths and U2. How did you go about deciding what tracks to cover?
It's different things, but most of the time we are taking songs that we were really fans when we were young. You know, like I was a big fan of all these bands, The Cure, Joy Division, The Smiths, and so we are picking the favorites. And sometimes it's about the lyrics that can inspire us something. Sometimes it's the sound, the history of the band. It's a lot of things.
Well, let's check out one of the tracks, which we can find, which is by Manchester band New Order. This is Bizarre Love Triangle, reworked by Nouvelle Vague.
I'm waiting for that final moment. You said the word that I can say. I feel fine and I feel good. I feel like I never should. Whenever I get this way, I just don't know what to say. What can we be like we were yesterday? I'm not sure what this could mean. I don't think you show me what you seem. I do admit to myself that if I hurt someone else, I'd never see what we were meant to be. Say the words.
Nouvelle Vague there with a track that you can find on the first of their new albums, Rarities. Now, what reactions do you get from the artists who are originally behind tracks, if any?
I think that most of them really liked what we have done. So we had this idea for the third album to invite some of them to do duets with the Nouvelle Vague singers. So we had Martin Gore from Depeche Mode, Jerry Hall from The Specials, the guy from Echo and the Bunnymen. So it was, for us, as a fan of New Wave band, it was really like incredible to have these people in the studio with us recording our covers.
Mm-hmm. And what was quite interesting is that when you first recorded the first album, some of the singers, because it was a time when internet wasn't exploding and a lot of the songs had kind of been forgotten, they were tracks from the 80s, the singers who were singing hadn't heard the original versions. And was that a luxury you had now recording today in 2018-19?
No.
No, absolutely not.
But, unless we are really choosing completely forgotten songs, but otherwise it's not working like that anymore. But it was a really good thing because the singer, like Camille on the first album, it was very fresh because she never heard about The Clash. So she just, we played the songs and she just sang it like that, you know, so it was a really good thing actually.
And she's gone on to become an incredibly popular artist internationally as well, so you're a good start off. Can you also tell me a bit about the titles of the album, because in the past, obviously, Nouvelle Vague is a big reference to French cinema. You also had one of your albums called Bande à part, which is a film with Anna Karina Godard.
Yes.
What's Rarities and Curiosities? That seems a bit more normal, if you don't mind me saying.
Yes, yeah. Actually, the link for this the titles is The Cure, because The Cure, they released an album called Curiosities and Rarities in '84. I remember I had the cassette, you know. So In fact, Rarities is a collection of tracks that have been released by the past, but that are no longer available on the Spotify, Deezer, and all this thing. And Curiosities is a compilation of tracks that we have never released, that we have recorded like from 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and that now we are thinking it's time to make it happen and to release it.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds great. It's a great double album. I recommend our listeners.
Thank you very much.
You also write scores for films, but you also have directed a film which is about to come out
yes.
this June, Choc du Futur. What's the soundtrack going to be like, and what's the film about?
The film is about a young woman in Paris in '78 that is somehow inventing the music, the sound of the future, electronic music. And the soundtrack, I've done some tracks, and I've chosen like songs or real electronic music that were really influenced at that time, like Jean-Michel Jarre, Serron, and people like this.
So that's quite an exciting thing to look forward to, and quite hard to handle at the same time as going on tour with Nouvelle Vague, which is going on till December, probably later on. You've got Scandinavia, you've got Germany, and you're playing this week Saint-Eustache in Paris. I noticed you were playing lots of little churches and little venues. Is that a conscious decision?
Absolutely, because we tried with this anniversary to come back to the first formula for the first band when we started with Camille and Melanie and Olivier. We were only 4 on stage. It was very intimate and acoustic, so we wanted to go back to this. And so the churches are really good for that, for the reverb and the place. So we just did a tour in UK actually, and we played in some churches. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you very much. There's something to look forward. Go and check out Nouvelle Vague. Time now to take a look at some new releases. And we start off with mega cool babe Ciara, who's releasing her 7th studio album, Beauty Marks, which the American singer promised would be a new departure from her last few records. Now, there are some pumping belchers on the album, with tracks produced by Rodney Jenkins, aka Darkchild. A lot of the songs refer to that fresh feeling you get when you start to fall in love. But sometimes the basic pop style leads her to lose her edge. Here's Ciara in one of her latest music videos where she's rolling around in a luxury hotel like a lovesick puppy.
Boy, I've been thinking about you. Wondering who's stuck in your head at night. Wonder if I ever cross your mind. Keeping you up in your bed at night. I've been thinking about you. I try to fight it, but it's hard to fight. I've been thinking about you. I've been thinking about you.
I've been thinking about you. That's Ciara with a track from her latest album. Now we've got Marc Collin from Nouvelle Vague on the show today. You've been covering 80s goth bands a lot. Would you consider doing a Nouvelle Vague album about R&B pop stars, covering them?
No,
not.
But maybe I can think about it.
Yeah.
Why not? I don't know.
Biggest R&B fault, just as something. But we're gonna move on to a very entertaining artist now, who's someone I highly recommend you check out live. Canada's Marc DeMarco, who is releasing his 4th album, Here Comes the Cowboy. And well, if you ask me, going by this new record, the cowboy is hella hungover and going super slow. Personally, I was hoping for a more exciting ride. Luckily, things liven up towards the end of the album. However, if you fancied chilling, here's the single Nobody, and it's a slightly creepy video.
There's no turning back to nobody. There's no second chance, no third degree.
Marc DeMarco there, who's currently touring the US and will be hitting Europe this summer for a festival season. And Marc Collin from Nouvelle Vague seems more enthusiastic about possibly covering him. I don't know. We'd have to do a jazzed up version. Anyway, he'll also be at Beauregard and Montreux Jazz Festival. If you're going to those, you can check out Marc DeMarco. Thank you for coming on the show, Marc Collin.
Thank you very much.
You can catch Nouvelle Vague on tour throughout Europe over the next 6 months. And remember, their albums, Curiosity and Rarities, are already available and will be a perfect fit for a chill summer weather. We're going to close the show now with the soulful voice of Jamila Woods. You can catch her interview about her new album Legacy this week on France 24. Here she is paying tribute to the groundbreaking actress and activist Eartha Kitt, who played amongst others Catwoman. And remember, you can find all our culture news on the website, and do follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this. Here we go, Jamila Woods.
Blaming myself again. I could have run a mile instead. I could have twist my hands instead. I'm laid out.